This is the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us on the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on April the 5th, 2013. Our time is 8:38 in the morning Mountain, 10:38 Eastern Time. Radio show runs News Talk 1010 in Toronto, 630 CHED Edmonton, and on News Talk 770 in Calgary. A radio show, obviously on the radio, online, archived at rarecoloreddiamonds.com or HESradio.com. And I should remind you, we have a podcast. The podcast is through iTunes. You can listen to our radio show. It's portable on iTunes through your iPhone, iPad, iPod, any portable device. You can listen to our radio show anytime you want. And do not forget that. Connect with Harold to speak with him about diamonds at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Telephone number 1-800-432-1022. The company Harold recommends you use when it comes to investing in gold, silver, platinum, palladium, worldwide precious metals. Their website, wwpmc.com. Telephone number 1-866-623-2002. And we have some exciting news we'll share here shortly in regard to worldwide precious metals as we start today's show. U.S. job numbers, not very good in the United States, brutal to say the least. 88,000 jobs gained. The labor force participation, 63%, the lowest since 1979. That's a really scary number. I guess if no one's in the job market and has a job, then basically zero unemployment. Hey, this is great. No, 90 million out of the labor force. Also this week, North Korea threatening to bomb the United States. I think I would hold up a picture of bin Laden, Gaddafi, and Saddam Hussein for this guy. Also a little breaking news from the Daily Mail, just breaking now. Get out of North Korea. All embassies told to evacuate after madman dictator warns he cannot guarantee safety for foreigners. Also this week, we had news on Cyprus. They're not going to take 30 to 40%, but 60% of the money out of bank accounts. Here in Canada, with the last budget, I know the CBC and the Sun News Network have done work, and they've investigated it. We have stories in our newsletter this week, and they're saying that this could happen in Canada. The Canadian government looking at doing it if a big bank went down here. Mark Faber saying what happened in Cyprus will happen everywhere. The Bank of Japan, quantitative easing of $1.4 trillion. They're trying to get out of deflation into inflation, and you're seeing them do it in a major way, $1.4 trillion. Simply stunning. Also, Russian officials saying, get your money out of Western banks now. More confiscation of money to come. David Stockman, he's a former congressman and in the Reagan administration many years ago said, the Fed is fueling a bubble economy because of quantitative easing. That bubble will burst. Stockton, California went bankrupt this week. Richard Russell saying the disconnect between the stock market and the real world is becoming acute. You have the highest poverty levels in the United States since the 1960s, 9 million people on disability. It's not about being optimistic or pessimistic. It's about being realistic. All this information in our newsletter. Get it from Worldwide Precious Metals or Herald. Connect with them. They'll be happy to send it out to you free of charge every week. That's why we're advocating hard assets. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium, diamonds. We'll talk about Harold's seminar a little later on the show. The seminar he did on diamonds last week, or this week actually, on Wednesday. We'll talk about it. But Harold, now is a time when you hear all this news. You can see it in our newsletter from reputable sources, mainstream, obviously, news sources. It's a time to be very concerned, and you need to protect the money that you have.
You better believe it, Randy. Again, these are very frightening times. I don't know what's worse. I mean, you've got a 30-year-old dictator in North Korea, and everybody who has, kids that are 28, 29, 30 understand what I'm talking about. How in the world is this guy running a country? And on top of that, he's got the third largest military in the world. That is a frightening situation. He's angry, he's got an ego, and anything is possible. They don't think rationally, and again, he's threatening not only the United States, but Japan and other areas in it's a very, very concerning situation. Geopolitically, there is a lot of things happening at this point that are very, very concerning. Obviously, the situation in Cyprus is still on everybody's mind. I mean, how do you get your head around the fact that the bank and the government stole 60% of your money out of your bank account, and they're setting a precedence, Randy? It's a frightening thing to think that all the banks around the world and governments are saying, okay, fine, this went over okay in Cyprus. Now they're going to use that model for the rest of the world. I mean, that's an absolutely scary thing to think that we have our money sitting in the bank and the government and the banks can steal that money from us, and there's very, very little that we can do about it. Here's the situation. Situation is this, that in the United States, the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Company that insures personal bank accounts, they insure bank accounts in the U.S. up to $250,000. So if you have $250,000 sitting in your bank account and that bank goes under, you're going to get back your $250,000. But if you've got $500,000 in the bank and that bank goes bust, you're not going to get back $500,000. You're only going to get back the insured amount of $250,000. There's a lot of people that have a lot more money than $250,000 sitting in a savings account, and that's something that you really need to watch out for at this point. You do not want to keep more money in your actual bank account than the insurance is going to cover, because the fact is that on any given time, these banks that are in big trouble anyways can steal your money, and there's nothing that you'd be able to do about it. It's truly a frightening situation. Then on top of that, most people don't know this, but in January the 1st, 2013, there was a new banking law that was initiated here in the United States. $1.5 trillion worth of bank deposits will lose any unlimited government guarantee that was created during the 2008 financial crisis to assure skittish customers that their funds were safe. The accounts losing this insurance are used by businesses, municipalities, other firms like charities and nonprofits, that they were willing to forgo any interest in order to have immediate access to their large pool of cash. These accounts hold about 20% of all deposits in the United States banks, and now these firms are scrambling to find out their banking situations. So they basically changed the laws from 2008, and most people don't even know about this. The other thing that is very frightening, and if you just do the numbers, you're going to understand what I'm talking about, but the FDIC has $25 billion worth of available insurance money to bail out the banks. The problem with that is there's $10 trillion worth of deposits in U.S. banks. So you've got $25 billion worth of money backing up $10 trillion worth of deposits. That doesn't seem right to me. That is something that I'd be very concerned about because, again, if it is the goal of the banks around the world to steal our wealth, that's the way that they're going to do it. And the banks here in the United States are in dire straits. They're not doing well. They have never recovered from 2007. And again, the situation just keeps getting worse and worse. This week in the marketplace, gold and silver got beaten up badly. You know, gold came all the way down to $15.50 twice this week. As we're taping the show right now, gold's up $10.50 at $15.65. The silver market's up 17 cents at $27.17. Platinum's up $2 at $15.30, and palladium's down $3 at $728. The thing that we need to be concerned about or watch for in gold and silver is this. There's very heavy support in gold at $15.20. We got to $15.50, and the market's languishing in that area. There's very heavy support for silver at $26. We got down to $26.60 on Thursday, and at this point we're back up to about $27.17. Here's the situation that I see in gold and silver. The fact is that there is a big difference between physical gold and silver and paper gold and silver. We know by what's happening in the banks and the markets all around the world that you can manipulate paper, and it's very easy for them to do so. But they can't manipulate the cash because and the physical market, because the physical market, it is what it is. Either you have it or you don't. So what's happening at this point, we've read over the last 3 or 4 weeks that the Canadian Mint and the U.S. Mint have totally run out of silver to mint their very profitable silver coins, their 1-ounce silver coins. So both the United States Mint and the Canadian Mint have both run out of silver, physical silver, in order to print their coins. Now, how in the world is it possible that if there's not enough physical silver to print these coins, how in the world is silver dropping? I mean, all of us have gone to school. We all understand supply and demand. When the demand for something is high and the supplies are low, the price is going to go higher. And the demand for silver is obviously so high physically at this particular time that they don't even have any physical silver, and the price is still dropping. What does that tell you? It tells you that there's a bank, J.P. Morgan, that is so heavily short the silver market that it's been defying logic and shorting this market. J.P. Morgan has got the largest position in history. They've actually sold more silver than exists in the world, and the U.S. government, the federal government, the CFTC, Commodity Futures Trading Commission, seems to be turning a blind eye to this. This is the most illegal thing that I've ever seen, that they would allow a bank like J.P. Morgan to short and to totally destroy a market like gold and silver physically just for their own profit. Now, the one good thing that is happening at this particular point, that they have forced the price of silver down to this heavy support level of $26. Again, we hit $26.78 this morning. So the thing is that looking at the Commitment of Traders report that I look at very closely, it shows me that J.P. Morgan is almost out of this position. They've liquidated so much of this short position at this point that it's almost over. That's why I'm saying that it's ironic that this is all happening at that $26 price that I've talked to you about for years and years now. So that's how important that $26 level is. And it appears to me that they're selling off this silver. They're trying to get out of this silver position that they've created, and we're close to the end of it, and we're close to $26 silver. If $26 silver holds, which I do believe it is going to, then we could see a massive rally coming back into that marketplace. So I know a lot of people have been beaten up on the gold and silver markets. It's been almost indescribable or almost inexplainable to explain to people how in the world that this is happening. Because the fact is that Japan, for now, is putting so much money into their market, close to $1 trillion or more, and that's going to bring on high inflation. Well, why is that not going to happen in the United States? We're printing $85 billion a month in the U.S. in order to support quantitative easing, which is almost $1 billion a year. We know that that's going to bring on inflation, but at this particular point, the U.S. government is playing with the markets, trying to make things look like things are going great in the States, but I'm a Canadian living in the U.S., and I can assure you that things are terrible in the United States, and the only reason that the stock market is going up is because the Federal Reserve is putting $85 billion a month back into that marketplace, and now the Dow is down 140 points today, down to 14,466 because of the job numbers. You got the NASDAQ down 42 points at 3,183. You've got the TSX, the Toronto Stock Exchange, got killed this week. It's down another 113 points at 12,249, but on Thursday it was down 75 points, and on Wednesday it was down 250. The U.S. dollar is finally going negative, down 30 points at 82.46, and the crude oil market is trading at 92.50. So all in all, the markets are cautious right now. Gold and silver, I am still a firm believer. I have not sold any of the physical silver or gold that I have at this point, and it's not because of emotion or anything. It's strictly because I don't see any way that this is not going to work out in our favor. I believe that gold is going to come back and make new highs. I believe silver is going to come back and not only make new highs, but possibly get into the $100 level further down the road. I believe that the Dow is going to drop tremendously. I think that we could see the Dow drop back down to 6,000 or 7,000. Back down to the 6,000 or 7,000 level like we saw in 2008. I'm not a big fan of what's happening in the stock market at this point, and now realizing how bad the paper markets are, that they can steal your money out of the bank, they can do the same thing in stocks and bonds. I wouldn't put a lot of money into paper assets. I would be diversified with physical gold and silver. I would definitely lighten up on my stock positions. I would definitely get a bunch of cash out of the banks, at least have it insured if you don't take it out, and I would definitely own some diamonds, which is one of the only assets at this particular point that is safe from what's going on, because the government doesn't know you own it, and it can't be tracked like gold and silver and stocks and cash. So again, these are very concerning times. We really need to be smart about what we're doing, not emotional, but smart about what we're doing. Randy, again, I would not be sitting in stocks or paper assets at this particular point. And again, with what's happening in the banking industry, it's scaring the life out of most people.
Well, the truth about the stock market is it comes down to timing. You may be in that market, but when it starts to roll over, will you be smart enough to get out? Jack Bogle, who started a mutual fund company in the United States, Vanguard, he was actually, and we have a story in our newsletter about it, he sees over the next 5 to 10 years pullbacks of 25 to 50% in the stock market. Well, who wants to be a part of that? Speak with Worldwide Precious Metals about getting our free weekly newsletter. It's the companion to our radio show. We only have an hour here, and it's really a must-read every week. You can go through it in 10, 15 minutes. You can spend hours if you want. Get our free weekly newsletter from them. This is the company Harold recommends you use when it comes to investing in gold, silver, platinum, palladium. Their website, www.pmc.com. Telephone number 1-866-623-2002. They are the experts in this very specialized field. And obviously, with the markets the way they are, people have been going, what the heck is going on? You have a scenario, as we mentioned in our newsletter this week, in the first quarter of 2013, U.S. silver eagle sales beat all-time records. We have a couple of stories about that you can read, and yet at the same time, the silver prices are going down. If it doesn't make sense to you, speak with Worldwide. They're the experts in this very specialized market. And they have asked me to pass on to you some good news to help those that do not have an allocation of precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium. Start your own precious metals investment account. They have reduced their fees substantially to keep, obviously, in line the demand that is going to be hitting very, very soon. So they've reduced the fees to start a precious metals investment account and add to your precious metals investment account if you already have one. And one thing to keep in mind, the gold and silver that you would have stored on your behalf is not in the banking system. It's outside of the banking system, so keep that in mind. And they can't stress enough that you get some of your money out of the banking system. It's easy to shift from large bank saving accounts into physical bullion for the preservation of your wealth. It's freedom of money. Gold, silver, diamonds, portable wealth, the most important money in the world, a hard asset. And it's important now more than ever you speak with the experts like Worldwide Precious Metals and find out what's happening with a situation like Cyprus and why you should take some of your hard-earned money and put it into gold and silver. www.pmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. Call them immediately. One of the stories in our newsletter that really caught my attention, David Stockman warns of a crash of a Fed-fueled bubble economy. The U.S. economy is in a bubble inflated by phony money from the Federal Reserve and will burst within a few years, warns David Stockman, who was the budget director for the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan. In an essay published in the New York Times, Stockman wrote, "The Fed's quantitative easing policies following the credit crisis have flooded stock markets with cash, even while the Main Street economy remains weak. The combination," he wrote, "is unsustainable. When it bursts, there will be no new round of bailouts like the ones the banks got in 2008. And he was a person as well who was a senior managing director, Stockman, of Blackstone Group and a former Republican in Michigan. He said, "Instead, America will descend into an era of zero-sum austerity," and he's talking about political conflict that will be potentially very violent. And he's written a book called The Great Deformation. You can get it this week. But a huge, huge warning from David Stockman, a guy who obviously was in politics in the States, budget director for Ronald Reagan. It does say a lot. We also have people like, and I mentioned off the top of the show, Richard Russell saying the disconnect between the stock market and the real world is just simply astounding to him, something he has not seen in 60 years. Also, we had Mark Faber coming out and saying that what's going to happen around the world, what happened in Cyprus is going to happen around the world. You have a city like Stockton, California, entering bankruptcy, and the state auditor for California saying they have a negative net worth of $127 billion. Harold, now is the time to be cautious, protect the money that you have, be conservative, because, and you can read all this information in our newsletter from mainstream sources. Go and speak with Worldwide about getting our newsletter, wwpmc.com, 1-866-623-2002. We have about 3 minutes left here in this segment, Harold, but I encourage people to get the newsletter, speak with Worldwide. Now is the time to protect the money that you have.
You bet, Randy. I mean, all you have to do is read the headlines this week, and it's, you got to be scratching your head. You're saying, is this possible that this is really happening? And the fact is that it's all caused by debt. And we all know that because we've all been in debt, at one point of our life, and we know the stress that's involved in owing money and not having enough money coming in to cover the bills. So we can certainly understand that when the U.S. government is $16 trillion in debt at this point and moving higher from that, we understand that they're going to do things that are only in the best interest of the government at that point because, again, the government runs the country. So I got to say, Randy, that these are very, very dangerous times. And, again, I agree, you've got to be very conservative. It's about capital preservation, not capital appreciation.
The company Harold recommends you use is Worldwide Precious Metals. Website, wwpmc.com. Go there immediately. Sign up for our free weekly newsletter. As well, speak with them. Call them, 1-866-623-2002 if you're confused about what's happening in the world financially, geopolitically. Now is the time to have hard assets. They're the experts. They can help you out, and they have reduced their fees to help you get started and get an allocation of precious metals with your own precious metals investment account or add to it today. Their website, wwpmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002, 1-866-623-2002. And some of the top quotes that we had from our newsletter this week. John Embry said, the paper manipulations of the gold market has a significant impact on people who don't understand what's really happening here. At this point, we know they can create an infinite supply of paper to suppress the paper side of the market. Although this may be discouraging to the smaller players of the market, for the entities such as Russia and China, they're using the low price to continue their massive accumulation of physical gold. It's believed what they will do is back their currency by gold at some point. Also, John Embry from Sprout Asset Management said, right now there's a growing belief that the U.S. economy is rebounding in a robust manner. The reality is that much of what is being reported is propaganda and government manipulation of economic numbers. I don't see how the economy cannot run into trouble in the near future. In an over-indebted economy, you really can't get it growing sustainably by creating more and more debt because the problem in the first place is the debt. So watching the economy and waiting to see if it begins to follow the path of Japan, Europe, and most of the rest of the world, which is struggling mightily. Now's the time to have an allocation of precious metals. Worldwide Precious Metals, speak with them about their new programs they have in place. wwpmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. Going to come back and talk about diamonds as the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us on the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on April the 5th, 2013. Our time, 9:03 Mountain, 11:03 Eastern. Radio show runs in Edmonton on 630 CHED, News Talk 770 Calgary, and News Talk 1010 in Toronto. We're on the radio. We're online. Show's archived on Harold's websites, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, HESradio.com. Also, we have a podcast, and the podcast through iTunes, type in World Financial Report on radio. Old archive shows there. The current show is there. It's portable. iPhone, iPad, iPod, take us anywhere. You can also listen to Harold's daily market commentary, and Harold does it every day, Monday through Friday, and there's roughly 1,000 people or more that listen to that every day, so that is fantastic news. The the company that Harold recommends you use to invest in precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, they've been in business over 10 years. They're the experts in this very specialized field. They've been through all the ups and downs of this bull market, and we've seen ups, and yes, we have seen pullbacks as well, but the trend has been up. That's Worldwide Precious Metals. Their website, wwpmc.com. Speak with them, connect with them at 1-866-623-2002. And they're very excited to announce they have reduced their fees substantially to keep in line with the huge demand that they're starting to see as people want to take advantage of the pullback in the market to start a precious metals investment account or add to current positions. And keep in mind that when you're invested with Worldwide, the gold and silver, platinum, palladium you have is outside the banking system, and they really can't stress enough. Now is the time to have some of your money outside the banking system, as we've seen what's happened in Cyprus. Harold's website is rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Speak personally and privately with Harold about diamonds at 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week is a 0.76 carat hard-cut fancy intense pink argyle. It is absolutely stunning, just as a pink diamond normally is. But then you add to the fact that it is a hard-cut, it is simply outstanding. And Harold, I did take part in your seminar on Wednesday. It was an hour long at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and thanks to everyone across Canada, around the world that took part in the online seminar about diamonds. Rare Colored Diamonds and yourself did an outstanding job. It was an hour long, and in that hour, we learned all the ins and outs as to why you want to be invested in this rare colored diamond market.
Thank you very much, Randy. It was very, very successful. We had people from all over the world participating, from Australia, from China, from Europe, from all over Canada, and from all over the United States. So again, it went very, very well. And again, it's certainly an investment that's time has come. You know, when you've got banks stealing your money right out of your bank account, and you've got everything happening that's being manipulated in the markets and everything, there's very few assets that are going to, number one, protect you, number two, profit for you, and something that the government can't steal from you. You know, the thing is, in the United States, I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago when the metals were really flying, that the U.S. government had contacted the major bullion houses in the U.S., forcing them to turn over their client list so they would know who owned the physical metals. Now, they said it was for tax reasons, but the feeling could have been that, you know, they've done it in the past before, that they could confiscate your gold and silver if things got bad enough here in the United States. You know, the thing is that they could steal our cash out of the bank. The markets can plummet because, again, they're traded on exchanges. There's very few assets that will protect you against the fear that we have in the market at this particular point. And diamonds just happens to be the best investment of all, because diamonds are portable private wealth. They're not traded on exchanges, so you don't get that volatility in the market. And the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, it can't be stolen from you. It can't be taken by a bank or by a government because they don't know that you own it. So the fact is that if you've got cash in the bank and you've got money sitting in the stock market and bond markets and things like that, you want to take some of that money out and put it into a diamond, a specific type of diamond, not just any diamond, because not all diamonds are going to get the job done for you. But you need to have some protection at this point, and you need to own an asset that can be instant cash for you anytime you need it. And if you have to leave, start all over again, do whatever, you can't do it with any other asset but a diamond. And the fact is that what we've done with our company is that because of what's happening worldwide right now, we've now incorporated my auction business, which is right now actually incorporated in North America, but we've now taken it to Central America through Panama, through the Middle East, through Dubai. We're setting up our offices in Hong Kong and in London, England. And the reason that we're doing this is that we want to have separate entities that our clients can actually sell their diamonds overseas and pick up other foreign currencies. Because with the way things are going in the U.S., the U.S. dollar looks to me like it's going to fall out of bed. There's no doubt that it's eventually going to happen, that the U.S. dollar is going to drop, and it's going to drop substantially. And the reason for that is that the Federal Reserve is printing just way too many dollars. So as that happens, again, we want to be able to sell our clients diamonds in England and be able to pick up British pounds, because at this point, with the state of the U.S. dollar, the British pound is worth 40% more than the U.S. dollar. You know, in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, it could be much more severe than that. So we want to have the option of being able to sell our clients diamonds in different parts of the world where they can get a stronger currency and where we can attract high net worth individuals. So that's what we've been working on to make certain that our clients are protected. And there's nothing better than owning a diamond at this particular point. Right now, we all know that we're only 5 years away from the Argyle mine closing down. This is probably going to be the biggest payday for anybody who's in the marketplace, because with what's happening with Argyle right now, we have 5 years until the mine closes down. They produce 95% of the world's pink diamonds. There's no doubt that when that mine closes down, the prices are going to skyrocket. They're already starting to do that. You could literally own an Argyle pink diamond and see it increase 8 to 10 times what the prices are today. There is no investments that I know of anywhere that will give you anywhere close to that type of return with the safety that you have in the diamond market, because the price of diamonds never fall. There's so few of these. There's only 200 carats of these Argyle pinks a year, and again, most of them end up in jewelry and won't even come back onto the marketplace for decades type of thing. They're handed down from generation to generation. You can get involved in Argyle pink diamonds starting at about $15,000 to $20,000. These diamonds can increase 10 times what today's prices are. It means that if you put $50,000 into the Argyle pink diamond market, you could possibly get back $400,000 to $500,000 in less than 10 years. So basically, that is definitely an area that you want to have money. You also want to have money in yellow flawless diamonds. They increase by 20 to 25% a year, double every 4 or 5 years in value. They never ever decline in value. There's maybe 100 to 120 yellow flawless diamonds available for the entire world a year. And again, most of those go to our Canadian clients. You put these away in your safety deposit box or in your safe at home and just forget about them. You don't buy a diamond and sell it in a year or two. You're not going to make any money. You're wasting your time doing so. This is a longer-term investment that is great for retirement and great for capital preservation. And with what's happening in the diamond market and all around the world in the financial markets, you can make a fortune in the right type of market. Now, not all diamonds are investment quality diamonds. You've got to, if you're going to invest in yellow diamonds, they've got to be internally flawless or a very good quality diamond over 5 carats. If you're going to invest in pink diamonds, make certain that they're Argyle pinks, and we are the largest dealer of Argyle pinks. We've just invested fortunes in the Argyle pink diamond market to make certain that there's enough of them for our clients to purchase, because again, this is the market that I do believe will make the biggest returns over the next 7 years. And then you have the D-flawless white diamonds that they're using in Europe as currency. They are phenomenal assets that make up 0.001% of the market. They're negative correlated to stocks, means if the stock market plummets, this will be your protection. They'll go up as much as the stock market will drop. And then on top of that, there's a shortage of them, and they go up tremendously in value. Now, again, these are not inexpensive diamonds. D-flawless whites, started about $60,000 to $70,000 a carat. But again, these diamonds in 5 or 10 years from now will do nothing but go up in value. So again, when you've got your money sitting in the bank, we now know that Cyprus has set a precedent. They've stolen 60% of certain depositors' monies. And now that that's been done, other banks are going to follow suit, because other banks are in as much trouble as Cyprus is in. And most of those banks that are in trouble are here in the United States. So, again, what happened in Cyprus could easily happen here. It's going to happen in Europe, because the banks in Europe are on the verge of bankruptcy also, and they're going to end up stealing depositors' money, just like Cyprus did. But if you have some of your money sitting in a diamond, nobody can steal that from you unless you're foolish and just keep it in open, don't put it in a safe or in the bank type of thing. So all in all, there is no doubt in my mind that the next 2 to 3 years are going to bring pandemonium in the cash markets and in the paper markets. the smartest thing to do. You know, the people in Cyprus, I read some stories, and they're heartbreaking. There was a man that's in his 80s that has put away everything that he owned. He had right around $1 million, and by the time the Cyprus banks opened again, he was down to about $300,000. And that was to take care of his entire family that was sick and the whole thing. So the sad stories that are coming out of Europe at this point, again, I believe are going to happen here. There is so much trouble in the markets right now, Randy, that I don't think that we've ever seen anything like that. Richard Russell is saying he's never seen anything like this in the 60 years that he's been in the market. I've traded the financial markets for 35 years. I've never seen such skullduggery and theft that's going on at this point. It's absolutely sickening to think that we could work so hard, do the right thing, put our money in the right markets for the right reason, and find out that those that our monies are being stolen and the markets are being manipulated. Again, these are times that if you make one bad mistake, you could get wiped out. And if you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, you'll never, ever replace the money that you lost in the markets at this point. Please don't get disillusioned, and don't fall into the hype that everything in the United States is going well and you need to get back into the stock market. It's the biggest mistake you could make at this particular point. And again, you know, with the unemployment numbers and everything happening in the markets right now, you've got to be very, very careful. Don't have all your money sitting in cash, and don't have all your money sitting in stocks, because you could easily lose it. Take some of that money, put it into a diamond, and you'll find that you're going to sleep a lot better at night.
Well, to give you an idea, in Cyprus, and this is in the Cyprus section of our newsletter, get our newsletter from Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com or 1-800-432-1022. He'll be happy to send it out to you via email every week. The reason you need to take care of yourself, there was a story this week about a French finance minister, and it turned out that he had a foreign bank account, and he had to resign from government in France. And one of the reasons you want to take care of yourself is in Cyprus, we mentioned this last week, there is approximately $4.5 billion that was taken out of the country just prior to everything being locked down. And the allegation is that the president of Cyprus had warned friends. And now we have a story, and you can read it in the Cyprus section of the newsletter, that there are allegations that a company connected to the president shifted money out of distressed lenders just before the banking system was effectively locked down on March 15th. And people are very upset as to why this happened, and they want an inquiry as to exactly why the banks went broke, and then on top of it, how it was that certain people were informed and they got their money out of the country before this all happened. Now, the key point here, Harold, is protect yourself. Take care of yourself. You can see the politicians are doing it for their family and friends in other countries, and now is the time to protect yourself. RareColoredDiamonds.com, telephone number 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, RareColoredDiamonds.com, the website, and take a look at our stunning featured diamond of the week, a 0.76 carat hard-cut fancy intense pink argyle. This is one of the most amazing pink diamonds you will ever see. When you go to RareColoredDiamonds.com, it's like going to a museum where you can invest in the diamonds that are there, and they are simply one of a kind and stunning. But Harold, I really do reiterate, now is the time to take care of your own finances, be in control, know what you're invested in. A lot of people don't know what they're invested in. Know what you're investing in, and on top of it, you work hard for your money, profit and protect that money during the crazy times we live in.
You bet, Randy, and there's no better way to do that than to invest in certain diamonds, because, again, diamonds are something that they can't take away from you, and they're portable private wealth. They're going to help you tremendously moving forward, especially as you see the governments get into more and more and more trouble. So, all in all, again, I know where I put my money. I'm a very conservative person. I'm not a risk taker in any way, shape, or form. And again, what we do at this particular point is we want to make certain that all of our clients and listeners to the radio show understand what's going on, understand where the risks lie, and then at that point make certain that you do the right thing to protect yourself and your family. The featured diamond this week is such an amazing diamond. The color is just absolutely ridiculous on it. And again, to see a heart-shaped diamond that's an argyle pink that's that size, again, is nearly impossible to get. So we've spent a fortune investing in argyles, and again, I have zero problem sleeping at night. These are the most amazing diamonds to own. They will skyrocket in price because, again, we know what happens when a mine closes down. It's just like anything else. When the demand is high and the supplies are low, the prices are going to go higher. So it's just that exciting of a situation. And again, I would love to see all of my clients sitting in the marketplace in diamonds at this point. It's going to make you sleep better. You're not going to lose your money, and you're going to make money moving forward, and that's what the game is. So again, at this point here, I would look at the argyle pinks, I would look at the yellow flawlesses, and I would definitely look at the flawless whites and put some diamonds away in your portfolio. Don't forget, we have auctions all over the world, and we did this for our clients to be able to resell their diamonds. No other company can do this for you. No other company thought to build a secondary market to resell diamonds. We're the only company that did that, and again, our business has skyrocketed worldwide because people are so concerned about the currency markets and about paper assets. And again, you need to own hard assets during these extremely difficult times.
Interesting story this week out of the UK. Bulgari diamond ring set to top, and this is 1 million British pounds. A rare deep blue diamond worth more than 1 million could make history when it goes on sale this month. The fancy diamond weighs 5.30 carats and is set in a trombino ring made by renowned Italian jewelry Bulgari, who is favored by Hollywood film stars. The term fancy is used to describe a diamond in its tense color, and the color fancy deep blue is one of the rarest in the world. The cushion-shaped diamond is set horizontally within a mount of brilliant diamonds and baguette-cut diamonds. You can see the diamond in the newsletter. It is absolutely stunning. Blue diamonds are structurally very pure and account for less than 1% of all diamonds mined. The ring is thought to have been made in 1965 and is estimated to fetch about 1.5 million British pounds at Bonhams. And the sale is April 24th, so we will keep you up to date on that. But they're expecting a record price. And Bonham says there's only about 30 diamonds of this size and color that have come up for sale globally in over the last 10 years, which is a fraction of the percentage of white diamonds which have been sold during this time. There are a number of people who are interested in this kind of stone because they don't come up on the market very often. It attracts connoisseurs, collectors, and people who just simply want to wear it because it's a wonderful stone. In September of 2011, Bonham sold a fancy vivid blue diamond ring, and this was from Bulgaria again for British pounds 1.9 million. And Harold, we will keep an eye on that sale because, as you've said before, and blue diamonds are very, very difficult to find, rarely come up for auction. And I know that you, through Rare Colored Diamonds, have sold a few of them, but it's in the red category as well. Red and blues are very, very rare.
Exactly, and they are spectacular diamonds. And one of the reasons why blue diamonds have skyrocketed in price is the same reason that argyle pinks are skyrocketing in price, that there's hardly any production of them anymore. In fact, in 2005, you could have bought a vivid blue diamond for about $200,000. After the mine closed, 3 years later, they were $1.4 million, 700% higher in 3 years. And now, if you could ever find a vivid blue diamond, they're over $2 million a carat. Red diamonds are about $2.5 million a carat. So you're right, Randy. They are diamonds that are ridiculously rare. Reds are first, blues are second. Then comes greens, but soon it's going to be pinks because there's not going to be any more pink diamonds left. So it's a great time to be in the diamond business. And again, we very, very highly recommend that you get something into a diamond while you still can. The next 5 to 7 years in pink diamonds is going to make fortunes for most people involved in the market.
Featured diamond this week is 0.76 carat hard-cut fancy intense pink argyle. See it in our newsletter. We have a picture. You can click the link. It will take you to rarecoloreddiamonds.com. and you can see it at rarecolordiamonds.com, the featured diamond of the week. Absolutely stunning. When it comes to precious metals, there's only one company Harold recommends you use. That is Worldwide Precious Metals. Their website, www.pmc.com. The telephone number to connect with them, 1-866-623-2002. Now more than ever, you need to look at having alternative investments like a diamond in your portfolio, gold, silver, platinum, palladium. And remember, when you do start your own precious metals investment account, the storage on the bullion account, you can get instant liquidity in and out of the market when you choose. You can buy and sell with a phone call. It's secure storage insured to the full value of your investment, 24/7 online access, and you'll have the full-time use of a precious metals expert. And we should mention that they have an incentive now in place for you to start your precious metals investment account today. They have reduced their fees substantially to keep in line with the purchase demand they're starting to see as this market is pulled back. We're seeing people add to their accounts and start accounts. And they can't stress enough, the money that you have invested in gold, silver, platinum, palladium is not in the banking system. It's outside the system. And they can't stress enough, get some of your money outside of the banking system. It's easy to shift from a large bank savings account to a physical bullion account for preservation of wealth. It's also free of money, obviously. Gold, silver, diamonds, secure, portable wealth. Most important in the times that we live in when we have a scenario similar to Cyprus. And I really do encourage people, Harold, to take a look at our newsletter this week and read those stories from the CBC, from Sun News. They talk about the Canadian government looking at a similar Cyprus scenario, and they've done extensive research on this, that if a big bank went down here, we could be facing the exact same thing.
You know, that really is shocking, Randy. You know, the banks in Canada were in better shape than the banks in the U.S. and in Europe during, you know, the crisis with the banking crisis and the mortgage crisis type of thing. But, you know, to hear Canada come out and say something like that is very, very concerning. And again, it just backs up the fact that once it's happened once, it becomes acceptable again. And again, that just isn't right, because to think that a bank can steal your money like that. And the fact is that when a bank makes these investments that they go into, you know, the thing is that they're leveraged very heavily. They're leveraged, you know, 30, 40 to 1, just like they were back in the 2000s when they got into all this trouble. So they didn't learn anything from it, and they're right back to doing the same thing. So when they make a bad investment and it's very heavily leveraged, 30 to 40 to 1, then all of a sudden, you know, the losses of the bank are astronomical, and it eats through the bank's funds and goes right to the depositors' funds, and then, you know, it's done. So as far as I'm concerned, if that's what the attitude is of the Canadian banks at this point, that they're actually warning us that they've looked at the model and find it acceptable, I would think that that's a real red flag, and we should definitely jump on something to make sure that, again, this is not going to happen to us. So, again, I very strongly recommend that we get something into the diamond market, get some of your cash out of the bank, get some of your stocks out of the market, and get yourself an Argyle pink or a deep flawless white or a big yellow, and let's get through these difficult times and make sure that these banks don't steal our money.
In our newsletter, it's a must-read, obviously, the story about the Canadian government looking at that as a potential model for our Canadian banks. But Jim Sinclair said it's extremely important for people around the world to understand that if history has taught us one thing, is that central planning has never, ever succeeded, meaning central banks. This group of central planners will fail as well. They are designed to fail, and they know it. They are simply there to buy time before a new world currency is put in place. And he says, as money flees the financial system, one of the top items being purchased will be physical gold. And Harold, we have approximately 30 seconds left. Rather interesting times that we live in. Poor U.S. jobs report. We have North Korea obviously being a threat. Bank of Japan, massive quantitative easing. Russian official coming out saying, get your money out of Western banks, potentially more confiscation. David Stockman saying that the Fed has created massive bubbles, a time to be very concerned.
You bet, Randy. And again, I know I'm concerned. I'm being proactive. I'm doing what I need to do to make sure that my family's money is not stolen. So, again, I just hope everybody understands the severity of what's going on. There's geopolitical problems. There's banking problems. And again, we just want to make sure that the listeners to our show come out of this okay.
Thank you very much, Harold.
It's my pleasure. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
And maybe there are a lot of people who disagree with us, and that's your right. We obviously have our opinion based on what we're seeing around the world, but even if we're just half right or even 25% right, you want to have that insurance policy of gold, silver, platinum, palladium, diamonds in your portfolio. Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, telephone number 1-800-432-1022. Also, the company he recommends, the only company he recommends to invest with when it comes to gold, silver, platinum, palladium, worldwide precious metals. WWPMC.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.